Hello, family. Today I'm going to be reading the love letters of Jerry and Mary for April 1954. First one begins April 5th, 1954, Sunday afternoon. Hi, Jerry. I don't know exactly how to begin after all the wonderful things you said in your last letter. I'm sort of speechless, and believe me, that don't happen very often. I hope you meant everything you said, but it seems like almost too much to hope for. The other day, I was walking through our office at work, and one of the fellows in our department asked me, what was I so happy about lately? I told him that I was always happy, which is true, but not so much as right now, and it must be noticeable. There is only one thing missing to make me completely happy, and that's you. Maybe someday, when the weather gets a little warmer, in and you're in the mood for a long drive, you could come to Chicago for a weekend. I know if I asked my mother, she would let you stay at our house. Do you like that idea? You asked me if I lived near either of those streets you mentioned. I'm a long way from the Edens Highway, but only a few blocks from the Lakeshore Drive. In the summer, I walk over to the lake. Sometimes it's only about 6 blocks. We are really near Montrose Harbor, where all the sailboats are. It is fun to watch them sail in and out of the harbor. I imagine it's even more fun to be on one, but that is something I've never done. Have you ever gone sailing? Sometimes I do the silliest things. Monday, while at work, I decided to paint my room. I'm supposed to be working, but I think of all these things to do instead. So I got paint on the way home and spent the whole evening painting. I didn't even ache the next day. Must be in a better condition than I thought. I guess I'm sort of ambitious too. Tuesday night, a group of my girlfriends came over. We call it our club because we've been meeting every Tuesday since we were sophomores in high school. About 2 months ago, we decided once a month would be better since we all have more to do now. Wasn't that a clever of me having my turn come during Lent? We're all over 21, so I couldn't serve anything to eat except for coffee. We usually have a big feast. Did you see the Knights of the Round Table? It was real good. At least the part that I saw. I went to see it last night and fell asleep in the middle of it. I was so embarrassed. I was tired because my boss had asked me to come in and work Saturday morning. We worked until almost 3 in the afternoon. I've never fallen asleep in a movie before in my life. Maybe I was bored with the company. Think so? I wouldn't have been if I had been with you, would I? My girlfriend is coming over this afternoon in a little while, and we're going to try to make pizza. Another one of those crazy notions. Have you ever had it? Everybody in Chicago seems to be wild about it. I like it too, but it is all in getting used to it. My brothers don't like it at all. He and his boyfriend just left so they wouldn't have to watch us make it. My mother just called to me and said that my girlfriend is coming up the walk, so I'll close for now, but I'll be thinking of you. Lots more love, Mary. P.S. Whatever happened to that little old poem you were writing for me? P.P.S. I must have been mistaken when I said that I was speechless. I seem to have done pretty well. April 6, 1954, Tuesday night. Dear Mary, I sure have spring fever now. The weather is so beautiful and everything is going wonderful. The temperature was about 75 today, just like summer, and everyone was out riding around in their convertibles. I finished my last two tests today, and I think I did pretty well. At least, I hope I did. I love winter and the sports, but when good old summer comes again, everything inside me makes me feel like it is going to burst with happiness. Only one thing is wrong. I would love to have you here with me to really enjoy it, to go for a long ride in a nice cool breeze and listen to the wonderful music on the radio. I think I would enjoy that more, even more, than anything I can think of. Or maybe a nice walk. Do you think that you would enjoy that? If you would, we have a date someday, somewhere. In your letter, you asked me if I saw Knights of the Round Table. No, I didn't see it, but I heard it was pretty good. So, you fell asleep in it, eh? Well, who was your company? Wasn't he interesting enough to keep you awake? I don't know if you would be bored with me. That would be up to you. I know I wouldn't be bored. Although I have already fallen asleep in a show more than once. In fact, I fell asleep in the drive-in theater last summer. My old girlfriend got so mad at me, she wouldn't even speak to me for the rest of the night. That didn't bother me any. I was sort of glad she didn't. She did shut eye. It it was only for one night. So, you were speechless after the letter I wrote you? After I get finished reading one of your letters, I'm happy all over, and I feel like telling the whole world about it. I have told my buddies about my little shy pie, and they asked too to see your picture, so I showed it to them. They said you had better come to Green Bay. They can see so that they can see you and believe that I have a sweetheart in Shy. So I guess you'll have to do that someday. How about it? When I come to Shy, you'll have to treat me to some pizza. I've never eaten it. I've heard so much about it. You will have to cook it though. No button stuff. I would like to see what kind of a cook you are. Well, I just finished closing up the station, so now I can finish my little talk with you without having any more interruptions. I washed my car tonight after the rain we had yesterday. It looked like a mess. All of my buddies are gone to the National Guard meeting tonight. Otherwise, there is always three or four of them around, so I don't get much of a chance to write to you then. Over the weekend, my buddy and I went traveling all around again, but we didn't go to Milwaukee as we planned. Next week on Good Friday, four of us are going on a skiing trip for about a week. We're going to go to Colorado to ski in the mountains. We plan on going such places as Aspen, Winter Park, Berthold, and maybe even Steamboat Springs. It is about 1,300 miles out there, and we plan on getting there in 26 hours. We're going to drive straight through, stopping only for gas. So don't be too surprised if you get a couple of letters from Colorado. You'll know they will be just from me. If we take some pictures out there, maybe I'll send you some. If you would want any, of course. Maybe that wouldn't interest you. You know, I just love to write letters to you. I could do it almost every day. But that would be overdoing it, would it? And besides, you would get tired of answering so many. Well, I think I had better shut up for a while, or else I would use all of my ink in my dad's pen. I think maybe I lost mine. I hope I didn't, though. It was a Parker 51. Au revoir, embauche ma petite chérie. I'll hold you in my heart, Jerry. P.S. Enclosed again, the long-awaited but soon forgotten poem. Unfortunately, we don't have the poem, but we have her response. April 10th, 1954, Friday evening. Dear Jerry, I've never had a poem written especially for me before, and I love every word of it. I'll never forget it, and I'll keep it always. You can put your words together and make them sound so beautiful. You're right, Jerry. If you wrote a letter every day, you would keep me pretty busy answering them, but I'm sure I would love it every minute of it. It makes me feel wonderful to think that you care enough to even want to write every day. Isn't it lucky for us that both our wishes don't come true at the same time? You said that you wished that I were there, and I wish that you were here. If you were here, I were there, we still wouldn't be together, would we? That may sound confusing, but it does make sense if you read it over a few times. We must both have the same idea of how to spend a perfect day. The long ride you mentioned with the music besides the sounds ideal. But I think I would burst if everything were so perfect. I enjoy doing things like that much more than going someplace in particular. Isn't it true that all the best things in life are free? When you come to visit me sometime, we will have to go for a walk along the lake shore. It is so pretty over there. I'm sure that you would like it as much as I do. I hope you have a real good time in Colorado, but I know you will. Have you ever been there before? A couple years ago, I went to dinner for my vacation and we drove up to the mountains every day. It is the most beautiful place I've ever been. When we were there wasn't much snow, even in the higher parts, but it was later in the summer. I didn't get to see those places you spoke of, but I have heard of them. Have oodles of fun. But if you find time, don't forget to write and tell me all about everything, and be sure to send me some pictures. You, yes, they will interest me. Don't you graduate this June? Won't that be wonderful? Not to have to study anymore? But then you'll have to work. And which is worse? I like my job though. I work with a real nice bunch of girls, and our boss is real swell to us. He is a character, always joking. The whole day is a laugh after another. We're just like one big happy family. The way I talk, they should put me in the personal department where they hire new employees. I hear thunder. It must be going to rain during the night. It has rained quite a bit lately. It's time now for some nice warm sunshine so that I can have something to blame my spring fever on. Well, Easter's almost here, and then we can eat our heart's content again. Joss saw lightning, and I can hear the rain hitting the window. I don't mind the thunder, but I don't like lightning at all. Gee, that started suddenly. It's pouring outside now. Back to Easter. Just think on Easter Sunday, you might be in Colorado skiing down a snowy mountainside. Oh, what fun. I'm going to close now for a while and go to sleep so I won't have to listen to all the horrible thunder and lightning. In the meantime, I'll try to be an angel, Jerry. Just for you, Mary. P.S. Tell your boyfriends that I would love to come to Green Bay and prove that I really am. Someday I will. April 11th, Saturday night. Hi, Mary. When I come to Shy, I sure won't have any trouble finding Gordon Terrace from the directions you gave me. Only one thing is puzzling me. What was the big X for in your house on the little paper you sent me? The large map you sent me was from the standard gas station. Is that the kind of gas your brother sells? If it is, he has picked the best kind to sell. That is the kind that we sell at our station, too. As usual, I'm working. We were awfully busy today. Everyone had their car washed. I washed about 6 cars this afternoon, and in the morning my dad washed about 4 or 5. It is so beautiful outside, and I'm sitting here at the desk in my little shirt sleeves, and we have the doors wide open. The temperature was about 75 degrees again. Wonderful, loving weather, isn't it? Wednesday in creative writing class, we had to write a soliloquy. I couldn't think of a good subject for the life of me. I thought, and guess what was on my mind? You. So, you were my inspiration. I wrote the soliloquy on dreaming about you. I even used your name in it. So, you are known around campus now as Petite, as you are. You sure get around, don't? I showed the poem and I wrote it to my CW teacher. He thought you must be pretty wonderful to get a poem like that. What a flatterer. My mom thought the poem was pretty good too. She said that she would like to see my little inspiration from Shy sometime. I told her that was a good idea. What do you say about that? I was just thinking the other day, if that's possible, if I should take a spin down to Shy some weekend without letting you know I was coming. What would I do? Or where would I ever find you if you would not be home? You Shy is a pretty big city. You are such a little girl, and I would never find you. I showed one of my buddies the nice picture you sent me. He thought it was a wonderful picture. He said to me, "Is a pretty girl like you living in Shy not going with some boy down there?" I couldn't answer him because I didn't know myself. Maybe I shouldn't be inquisitive, but you never did tell me about your loves in Shy. As far as my love life in Green Bay, there's no one in particular. I just go out and have a good time. Give 'em all a thrill. Ha ha ha. Say, I'm good at telling jokes, ain't I? Well, cutie pie, I'll close for a while, because it's time to close the station, and two of my buddies are waiting for me. We're going to dance in Shawano, but about 36 miles from Green Bay, and I can't keep them waiting. Goodbye and sweet dreams till we write again. I get so lonely. Jerry. P.S. Found my pen. April 14th, Tuesday evening. Dear Jerry, first of all, I must get the X in my drawing straightened out. I hope you didn't think that the whole building was my house. I guess I forgot to tell you I live in a big apartment building, 34 apartments, and the X is where ours is located. It's back on the left side of the court. There are lilac bushes in front of the house. Maybe they will be in bloom when you come, but I hope you don't wait that long. They already have little buds on them. Everything is getting so green in just the last couple of days. I wish to differ with you where gas is concerned. I'm obliged to say that I think Texaco is the best gas to sell. My brother would disown me if I didn't stick up for their product. The reason I sent a standard map is because I got it from work. We have a gas station in the parking lot behind our office, and my girlfriend and I went out there and got it for me. Last night, my brother and I, we drove out to the station. We stayed until they closed. They were so busy, we didn't even get a chance to talk much. I had a real good time, and I'm thinking seriously of learning how to run the gas pump. I'd probably be the only girl in Shy selling gas. I felt sort of out of place, though. I was the only girl around there all evening. I hope you got a good mark on your soliloquy, especially since I was your inspiration. Do you really mean that everyone on the campus has heard about me? Please don't make me sound so good, or I'll disappoint them if I do come. Your CW teacher was almost right, but not quite. He said that I must be pretty wonderful to receive a poem like that, but you're the wonderful one for writing it. You asked how you would find me if I wasn't home when you come. I had thought of that too. You don't need to worry though. My mother always knows where I am. And if you come, she will call me and I'll come a running. By the way, you can tell your boyfriends that naturally I go with boys and shy, but nobody special. And I've never met anybody in shy yet quite like the boy I met from Green Bay. And besides that, Chicago boys don't write poems for me like you do. I drew a picture of you from the little photo you sent me. It took me nearly Sunday afternoon, but it was fun. It looks a little like you, but of course it doesn't do you justice. You're much better looking. I carry your picture with me every place I go, and I don't have one for my dresser, so I drew one. One way to remedy the situation, huh? I'll show it to you sometime. Since you're going to be gone, I won't be able to write to you all next week. It'll seem funny. I'm going to get into the habit, a good habit. You be real careful while you're gone, driving and skiing and everything. I wouldn't want anything to happen to you. And think of me once in a while. Much love, Mary. April 14th, Tuesday evening. Dear little brown eyes, I was just thinking the other day, do you know how long we have been together? About 7 or 8 hours. Still, I feel like I've known you all my life. I wish I really would have known you that long. I also wish that you lived closer. In fact, right here in Green Bay would be just fine. Maybe someday. If I wish hard enough, my dream will come true. Of course, something like that would be up to you. I hope you'll excuse the scribbling. I'm laying in bed writing this letter. It's raining out, and the drops of rain are pitter-pattering on the window. Makes it seem like a warm summer night. The weather for the past 4 days has been perfect, although it's been a little windy. The temperature was in the 70s. Today, I played tennis for about 4 hours. I'm all done in. My arms, my legs are stiff and sore. I guess I overdid it a little. I may do a little golfing tomorrow because school lets out at noon for the Easter vacation. I have just one class left tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and then freedom for 12 days. I'm kind of anxious to go to Colorado, but I also would like to take a little buzz to Chicago to see a certain someone. If we get back from our skiing trip the Saturday or Friday after Easter, which I hope we do, I might take a run to Chi. Do you think there would be any chance of finding you home? If I do come, I would get there about 6 o'clock at night or on Saturday. Would that be okay with you? Next morning, I have to hustle to class in a little while so I can finish the dissertation of nonsense. Although, I mean every word I said. I have it this last class before Easter. It is a course on the English novel. Every class, we just sit and listen while Father Butler reads old stories to us. What an exciting class. We have to read a novel in this class every 2 weeks. Most of these novels are so boring and useless, I skip over many pages without missing the gist of the story. I've one thing against this course. We must read some books that are on the index. Some of these stories have a bad part or two in them. Yesterday, in creative writing, Father read my soliloquy in class, the one I used you as an inspiration. He said it was terrific. It was the best I had written so far. See what you're doing for me? If you were here beside me when I did my writing, I don't know what would happen. Maybe I would write something extraordinary, or maybe it wouldn't be any good at all. You would get me all excited and then I would be lost. The last letter I received from you was on Monday. Maybe I might get one before I leave on my trip. Then I will get off to a good trip. You know, your letters make the day pass so wonderfully. I have something to look forward to. These beautiful spring days are just perfect when filled with the thought of you. I'll close for a while, just a little while. Bye-bye, little brown eyes. Do you know you're getting to be a habit with me? And I love every moment of it. Jerry. P.S. Say a little prayer so we have a safe trip. Here's air mail from Colorado to Miss Mary Forsyth. Saturday night. Dear Mary, well, we arrived safely at noon today. We left Green Bay at 3 p.m. Friday, and it took us exactly 21 hours to travel 1,140 miles. We got to Denver at noon. We still had 70 miles to travel to the ski area, though, the terrific Rocky Mountains. We took all afternoon to get to the ski area. We stopped many, many times on the mountain road to enjoy the scenery or walk up different mountain trails. This truly is the most beautiful spot in the world. The snow-capped mountains are indescribable. I, in all my life, have never seen anything so gorgeous and breathtaking as these mountains. The quaint little old towns set apart from the rest of the world, the luscious waterfalls, the mountain streams. Our trip out here was just perfect. The sun was shining all day yesterday, and today the moon was shining brightly to guide us all night. We drove continuously, stopping only for gas. I drove about 700 miles. My eyes are bloodshot from lack of sleep and overstrain. My arms and face are sunburned, and I am just dead. After I finished this and a couple of postcards, I'm going to crawl into bed. We have a big week ahead of us, so I should get some rest. We looked at the mountain we will ski on, and it is terribly high. It even scares me a little. There are about 6 different trails to ski on, each one harder than the other. It costs $3.50 a day to use the ski lift. It is much a different ski tow from Iron Mountain. Up here, we just sit in chairs and ride all the way to the top. A person has to be pretty good to be able to ski here. I hope I don't have any trouble breaking any bones or anything. Someday, I would like to spend a whole month out here near Denver. This is really God's country. Someday, I would like to take you out here. We could have so much fun together. There sure is plenty to see and do around here. In your last letter, you said you would have any letters, said you would have any letters to write this week. Is that so? Well, all I've got to say is there better be at least 5 letters home waiting for me, as your name is Mud. I don't know for sure about Saturday. If I can get to Shy, I will try my darndest though. But if you have something to do, go right ahead and do it. If I do come down and you're not home, I'll find you someplace. I hope. I have so much to tell you, I can't remember it all. But there will be more of these dissertations coming later, if that is already all right with you. I'll close for a little while because I have to drop a line to my folks, yet I am having a hard time keeping my eyes open. Bye bye. God bless you and keep for me. I'm always thinking of you and all the things you are. Much love, Jerry. P.S. You said you drew a picture of me. How about drawing one of you and I together? Wednesday evening, April 22nd. Dear Jerry, it was a beautiful spring day today, and we had April showers all afternoon. But I didn't mind them at all. I enjoy spring rains, especially since they bring May flowers. I received your letter from Colorado today. I decided I better write right away. I certainly don't want to be called Mud. If you come to Shy Saturday, I'll be the happiest girl in the world. I can't remember when I've even wanted to see anybody so much. But if you're exhausted when you get home, don't try to drive all the way up here. You'll wear yourself out. There is always another weekend, but there are so far away. From the way you describe your trip, it sounds out of this world. I'm so glad you're having such a wonderful time. I agree with you. I think Colorado is the most beautiful place in the whole world, too. I would love to go back sometime. You said that you would like to take me there someday. It's a little impossible, but don't it sound wonderful? By the time you read this, you'll be home safe, and you'll think I'm silly. But the way you describe the place you're going to ski scares me. Until I hear you're home, I'll be a bit worried. I guess you always worry a little about some people, especially when they're skiing on steep mountainsides and driving on windy mountain roads. I know you will be all right, though, because I have been praying for you every day, and I'm sure your mother has too. When I was out on Friday evening, I was thinking about you, as usual. There was such a wonderful full moon, and I know you were driving someplace far away looking at it too. You know what? I kind of like living, but I think you know that already. One of my girlfriends is getting married Saturday morning. Two other girls and myself went together and bought her a wedding present today. We had so much fun wrapping it. The three of us put our heads together and we came out with a really pretty package. You should have seen the bow. It was really something. I didn't tell you what I did Holy Thursday evening yet, did I? Not the same two girls and I mentioned above, but two other girls and I visited my 9 churches. We walked the whole distance. The churches in Chai are from 6 to 8 blocks apart, so we really had our exercise for one evening, didn't we? And to make it real exciting, it rained, but it was a short shower, so we didn't let it stop us. I saw other people doing the same thing. There was a boy and a girl about our age, and I noticed in particular. I thought it looked so nice. It's unusual to see a boy that will do something like that with a girl. My grandmother had a very bad stroke a few days ago, and the doctor doesn't think she's going to live over a couple of days longer. Her home is in southern Illinois, so if she should happen to pass away, we will go down there. My dad has been traveling back and forth for a month now visiting her. He just came home from work and called down there and found out how bad she is. Why am I telling you all this? If it should happen before Saturday, I won't be in town Saturday evening, but I'll let you know somehow if I won't be home. I'll call you if I don't find out until Friday or Saturday. I didn't expect to hear from you so soon after you got to Colorado. I thought you'd be so busy and having so much fun that you had forgotten about little old me. Better stop. No more paper. Love you much. Mary. April 27th. Dear Mary, well, I made it back from Colorado without even a scratch. We didn't have any trouble whatsoever. We left Denver Saturday at noon. The temperature was about 75 degrees. We sure hated to leave such a beautiful country, but we had no choice. The weather out there was just like summer. It snowed twice all week in Denver, and all the temperature was in the 70s almost every day. Doesn't that sound terrific? I think that the most beautiful part of our country. I would love to live there someday, wouldn't you? The mountains are just breathtaking. The skiing is perfect, and the scenery is wonderful. I have little scenery is wonderful, and a little bad thing I can think of is nothing I could think of that is bad about the place. We arrived at the ski lodge Saturday afternoon. We went to bed early that night because we were all pretty tired from the long trip. Sunday morning, we had to drive about 40 miles through the mountains to go to church. After church, we went skiing at Arapahoe Basin near Dillon, Colorado. The hill, or two should say mountains, was about 14,000 feet high. We rode the chairlift to get to the top. It it would take about a half hour to ski to the bottom. We skied all day Sunday, and Sunday night the four of us were going to go out to have a couple of beers, but we laid down for a little while at 8 p.m. and we never woke up until the next morning. We skied all day Monday, and Monday night a bunch of us skiers had a party. So we went out there and we had a good time. We got back to our cabin about 11:30 p.m. We skied all day Tuesday and went out again Tuesday night. Wednesday, one of the kids got so sunburned from the two previous days of skiing, we had to drive him 45 miles to a doctor. Driving that far in the mountains takes quite a long time. One of the other kids had a sore jaw, and the doctor in Idaho Springs, Colorado, said that we should drive into Denver to have her tooth pulled. So we did. That day, Wednesday, we didn't do any skiing at all, just riding back and forth from the through the mountains. Wednesday night there was another party, so we went out that night again. Thursday we skied all day. I made about 20 runs that day, so I almost wore myself out. But we went out again that night. Also, Friday, we didn't do any skiing at all. We just rode around Colorado and visited the many sites. We spent most of the day in the Rocky Mountains National Park. We saw the Grand Lake and the resort, and many movie stars stay and do some water skiing in the summertime. Friday night, we drove into Denver and stayed at the house of one of the kids. It was his aunt's house of one of our gang. So we spent Friday Eve just sitting around the house watching television and chewing the fat. I forgot to tell you, Wednesday we came into Denver to the dentist, and one of the kids and I went to the auto show while the other were at the doctor's office. I wonder if I saw the same auto show you did. Did you see the futuristic car made by Ford? The car was real low. It had no steering wheel, and it runs by jets. And it had radar, and it also had an automatic pilot control, and other things like that. I would not figure out how to get into it. We also visited the University of Colorado. I sure wish I was going there. There is a magnificent school set in the mountains about 30 miles outside of Denver. We left Denver Saturday at noon and drove all afternoon and through the night. We came into Illinois about 7 o'clock Sunday morning. We came within 70 miles of Chi. We stopped in Rockford for breakfast. We went to church in Racine at about 10:30. The rest of the kids drove on to Green Bay, but I stayed in Racine because it was visiting day at the convent. I hadn't seen my sister since last September, so I sure was glad to see her. My parents were at the convent when I arrived there. They were glad to see me. My mother was so worried about our long trip home. I drove our car home from Racine Sunday, so when I got home, I was really done in. I didn't have any sleep for about 40 hours. When I was near Chi, I wanted to stop and see you, but the rest of the gang were in a hurry to get home, so I didn't have much to say. My mother told me that you called on Saturday. I'm sorry I wasn't there to talk to you. I'm sorry about your grandmother. Would you give your father my respect, regards? I think I know how you feel. My grandmother died about a year ago. She had been living with us so I really missed her. All the time I was in Colorado, I was thinking about you constantly. You were with me every trip down the mountain. You were in my mind when I went to bed at night. I kept wishing that you were with me out there to enjoy the nice sights and everything. Would have been perfect. Something always seemed missing wherever I went, and whatever I did. I guess you mean more to me than I realize. I asked my dad today if I could get off work Saturday afternoon, and he said I could. So this weekend for sure, I'm coming to Shy. Is that all right with you? I'm sorry last weekend I promised to come, but I didn't make it. But everything turned out all right. Anywhere. Anyway. Anyway. I hope you'll excuse the handwriting. I'm sitting in the back seat of my car where I can concentrate on what I'm doing. When I come to Chicago, I'll be alone. I will get there around 7 or 8 p.m., sometime in there. Is that okay with you? I have to go to school Saturday morning, and then I will have to work until about 3 p.m., so I'll have to leave after that. I suppose you can find something for us to do when I get there, because I don't know anything about Shy at all. I know is how to find you. That is the most important thing, isn't it? I could write for you to you for hours, but maybe I had better save some of the gab. So when I get to see you, I'll have something to say. I'll close for a little while, and I'll write soon, and you do the same. You know, I took the mailbox every chance to go see if there's some news from you. Your letters keep me going on high gear. Without them, I think life is boring. Bye bye, little sweetie. I get so lonely without you. God bless you, and thanks for your prayers. They helped us through the bad fog in town. Love, Jerry. P.S. God willing, I'll see you Saturday. Deal? If you can see the back of the envelope, it has the letters SWAK. We'll find out what that is. Right? This is April 26th, Monday morning. Dear Jerry, it's only 6:30 in the morning. I get up early so I would have time to write before I left again. I had intended to write yesterday evening, but I was too exhausted. It was such a long day. I feel so sorry for my dad. We spent the whole day at the funeral home, since yesterday morning until 11 o'clock last night. I was so sure surprised to see that the whole town showed up, and three-fourths of them are relatives. I don't remember any of them because I was only 8 years old when I moved away. They all remember me, though. Same old story. My, how you've grown. Do people say that to you when they haven't seen you for a while? Everybody was so wonderful. Some sent flowers, but most of them gave mass cards for my grandmother. It must be wonderful to live in a small town and to know so many people. Yesterday evening, the parish priest came over and said the rosary. All these people stayed and said it too. Well, I won't say any more about that. I know that your mother has told you that I phoned you. I guess you weren't coming anyway, but I didn't know for sure, so I thought I'd better warn you before you drove all the way. I hope you had a nice trip. We had a nice drive, only coming this far. I was thinking of you. Driving like that to Colorado, it must have been fun. Your mother was so sweet to me on the phone. I like her already. Haven't you have even met I haven't even met her yet. I asked her to tell you to try another weekend. This was a busy week for both of you and I. By the way, I sure hope there is a letter waiting for me when I get home. It seems like years since I heard from you. I want to know all about your skiing and nightlife in Colorado. The weather here is terrific. It's been in the high 80s the last 2 days. I didn't think this was a hot any place except for Florida. The girls here are wearing summer dresses and sleeveless blouses. Back in Shy, people are still wearing coats. There was two cars of us coming down. My younger brother drove our car, and one of my other brothers and his family were in the other one. We had to drive 80 miles an hour sometimes to catch up with him. I think we passed every car between Shy and Galesburg. We brought a lunch with us, and we stopped beside the road and had a picnic. Please excuse the pencil. I forgot to bring my pen. I didn't forget the paper, though, so that proves I was thinking of you. As if you didn't need proof. Not very cheerful, am I? I'll write again when I get home and try to be more interesting. Love, Mary. XX. April 26th. Dear little Mary, I'm sitting in a very boring English class, a course about Geoffrey Chaucer, an English author of the 16th century. It is written in the English language of the 16th century. It's almost like translating another language. Last night, I went to the Army Reserve meeting at the Armory. We had a big inspection. Our outfit received an excellent from the inspecting officer, who was our commander at the ROTC up at St. Norbert's. After the reserve meeting, I went to Mercer's, commonly called the office. I had a few beers, and then Goose and I went for a ride to see if we could find anything to do on Monday night. We found an enormous amount of cars out near the drive-in theater in front of a place called the Airport Bar. I had never been there before. They were away. They were giving away free beer and lunch, so we stayed and enjoyed ourselves. They were dancing and having a good time. Did you ever dance to a polka? It sure is a lot of fun. When we were out west, people never heard of polkas. All they ever played on the jukeboxes is goofy cowboy songs. One of the buddies bought a new car last week. It's a 1954 Chevrolet hardtop convertible. It is real nice, but I don't like Chevy at all. But I had better not run down his car or he would not let me ride in it. If you know I didn't like it. Don't you get me wrong, Chevs are all right, but it's just that I would not own one. I would rather have Plymouth or a bigger car like a Cadillac. Didn't I tell you I have a chance to buy a good Cadillac convertible? It's not a new one. It's a 1950, but I know the lady who owns it. She has a service. She has it serviced at our station all the time. The car is just like new. It only has 20,000 miles on it. Do you think I ought to buy it? Or is that the kind of car out of my class? When I talk to my dad about it, he doesn't say yes or no, because he knows the car is in such beautiful shape. If I did buy it, I would be later in the summer. That is when the lady wants to sell it. She's going to buy a brand new caddy. I just got home from school, and I found a letter waiting for me on my dresser. I always hurry home to see if there is any news for my little sweetie. Do you have a So you have a pile of relatives too? So do I. The only time I meet them is when someone in the relation is married or dies. They always say the same thing. My, sure are a big boy, or some crazy thing like that. It makes me feel like I'm 15 years old. Maybe that's all the older I look. I don't know. So, you had a nice trip to Galesburg? Is that in southern Illinois? You said it was fun driving a long way like that. It was fun driving all the way to Colorado, but it would have been more fun if you were with me to enjoy the ride. When you said you had to drive almost 80, it made me think of our trip. We drove between 70 and 80 all the way to Colorado. That's why we made it out there in 21 hours. We average 58 miles an hour going there, and that includes stop to eat and getting gas for the car. I just happened to think, for me, that's a rarity, that you're on daylight saving time in Chicago. That means I'll get there an hour earlier than I planned. So, more than likely, I will get there by 7 o'clock or maybe even a little earlier. It will all depend on when I get off from work and how much traffic is on the highways. I can hardly wait until Saturday. It has been almost 2 months since I have seen you, and then is was for just a few hours. You know, you made me pretty mad that Saturday night. When I went to bed that night, I thought you were just another girl that I had met and I would never see again. It didn't mu- it didn't much difference either because you didn't make me much of an impression on me. But the next day and from then on, I know nothing like it has happened to me before, and I love every moment of it. Well, I guess I had better stop that silly talk and save some of it for the weekend. Bye bye, little sweetie. You are the girl of my dreams, and I love it. Love, Jerry. And again, there's 3 letters, JVA. April 29th, Wednesday evening. Dear Jerry, just think, 3 days from now, you will be together. I'm so glad you are coming for sure Saturday. I told my mom and my dad that you were driving here Saturday, and they both asked me the same thing, if you were going to stay and or drive back on Sunday. You didn't mention that in your last letter, so I couldn't say. But you're more than welcome to stay. I'm sure you can find a hook to hang you on. Of course, I don't know if you're going to have to work on Sunday morning or not, but if you don't, you could stay and we could even go to church together. I was thinking too that you could go home Sunday and I might ride as far as Milwaukee with you and come home on the North Shore train. It stops about 4 blocks from my house. And then you would only have half of as far to drive alone. I couldn't do that on Saturday though because it would be too late. I'm just chock full of silly ideas, so don't pay any attention to me if you don't want to. But that does sound like fun, don't it? I should have stayed in my ex hometown. They are having such beautiful weather, and it has been cold and rainy ever since I got back. I went out last night and nearly froze. My girlfriends and I had another monthly gab session. My girlfriend Paulette brought her little baby. He is the little fellow. I am a godmother, too. He's such a cutie. I don't think I've ever said who you were went to Colorado with. Were they the same fellows you went to Iron Mountain with? Or were these different ones? When you see some place like that, doesn't it make you wonder why people live in places like Shy when they could live in a place like that? You and I don't have much choice. We go where our parents go. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not complaining. I still like Shy. I was just thinking how much better I might like living in Colorado. I got a big kick out of the chipping my girlfriend sent to me from California. I thought you would enjoy it too. Oh, clipping my girlfriend sent to me from Colorado. I thought you enjoy it too. As you see, I'm still being teased about my skiing escapade. Bye bye. For only a couple days. Drive carefully. I'd rather have you late than not at all. Love you much, Mary. April 29th, Thursday night. Dear Mary, this is just a little note. I made a mistake in my last letter. I said I'd be in Shy by 7 o'clock because of daylight saving time. I forgot. I'll be losing an hour, not gaining an hour. I don't know for sure what time I'll leave Green Bay. I might not have to work at the station at all. In that case, I'll get there any time, although it probably will still be between 6 and 7. There is a big parade in Green Bay Saturday. I'm supposed to be in it. I march at the head of the parade with the ROTC at school because I am the baton headquarters. I am a big shot. Ha ha, bragging again. But I am not going to march in it. If I do. I won't be able to leave Green Bay until almost 4. I won't get to Chicago until 9 or later, and that just won't do. I'm too anxious to get to Chicago. There seems to be someone down there that attracts me. I don't know who it could be, do you? I'll think I'll close for now, or you will go to sleep on me. This is the 4th letter this week, you know. I don't want to overdo this stuff. Bye-bye, little sweetie. I'm going to go on a lovin' spree this Saturday, okay? Love, Jerry. Again, the back of the envelope, SWAK. And we're going to stop there, and we'll do May next time. All right, enjoy.